Hello everyone. I'm going to be doing my verdict or review of the TJExclusives PlastiX dots. So I've had them for a while now, but I've never really made a review on them. I'm not sure. I don't know. I just never made a review on them. But finally, I think I've actually used them a lot. I put a lot of use to it, so I actually do have a very, I think my opinion is formulated essentially. So before I start this video, I do want to let you know that TJExclusives did send this out to me, although I will do my very best to remain unbiased. But I always encourage you to be skeptical of any reviews or anything that's always been sent by a Prino or something. They sent this to me honestly like months ago, so this is a little late coming. But I'm not gonna oh, it's perfect the moment I get it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's not perfect. You'll see what I mean in a bit in the review. I actually have a lot to say about it, some good, some bad, and you'll see that yeah. So the PlastiX dots are, you know what? I forgot. I believe they have some information I need to bring up. But they are their own blend essentially of material what they use for hold on. Let me get the okay, hold on. All right, my bad. All right, so let's see. PlastiX dots. Actually, I'll read these out to you later. This is like their talking point. I want to read that out to you later, a little bit later. But basically, there are these material plastic that they use. That's a blend, and not used by really anyone else. And what they boast is that it has extreme durability, which for sure exists. Trust me. I have tried. They said it lasts over 250 times at PTFE, but I can't say with certainty that's true. I believe it, but 250, I'm not testing that, man. I'm not, you know what I mean? I've really done a lot of testing and it does seem legit, but I am not testing it to the extent they did is what I'm saying. But I do very much believe those claims. Anyways, but yeah, when it comes to skates like these, they're a little expensive. I think these are like $1 per skate, so it's a little expensive. But the reason why is obviously because it's their own new material thing. It's very unique. Yeah. So what's my opinion on it? Well, unfortunately, these are not the perfect skate. No, they're not. And they're not even what I would say is oh, I highly recommend these. I don't think I'd even see that. These are quite a niche skate that is, I think, has its place. I just realized I still have this here. I need to get whatever. I still have this middle dot here. I need to get rid of that. Anyways, it's a little of a niche product, but in where it does excel, it does. But in where it does not excel, it unexcels. You know what I'm trying to say. So let me go over the talking points over what TJExclusives has. I wrote them right here, and then I'll tell you my opinion on it. So they asked me, they wanted my genuine opinion, but they were saying some helpful info on the skates would be, number one is that they were engineered for glass pads, but they also create an absolutely wonderful experience on cloth pads as well. That's opinion that's opinion, whether you think it's good on cloth pads or not. For me, I would debate no and yes, because like I said, it's preference. But one of the things is when you press down on the pad, since the skates are kind of small, they're more likely to bottom out quicker. Although I guess these are harder though, so they don't, I don't know, just, you know what I mean? If you use them on a soft pad, it's gonna be a trouble unless you use a lot more dots everywhere else. So that's one thing I wanted to say for your cloth pads. But secondly, they're not bad on cloth pads. They're actually extremely controlled, very controlled. I know I'm not showing much right here with just this, but do you see how much power I'm doing? I'm doing like that. I'm doing all, dude, it's actually so heavy. Jeez. Oh, okay. Well, you get the point. Extremely controlled. So delightful on cloth pads. I think that's personal preference. I feel like a lot of people it's too slow. Keep in mind this is already a controlled surface, so it's even more controlled. So it's it's not representative of everything. So let me give you an example. I have a Lethal Gaming Gear Saturn right here. Let me see. On a Saturn, this is still on the controlled end, but it's not nearly as much. Okay, I guess the static friction, one thing that's special about the skates I've noticed is they have really low static friction, but more high dynamic friction. And I think I kind of like that. So like example, it doesn't take that much to move it actually, but like you can see how much stopping power it has when I do this. It like kind of stops pretty quickly compared to regular skates where if I probably did that with anything else. Let's try like, I don't know, let's try stock skates right here. I'll do the same amount of horse. It's much more stopping power. I mean, you can't. It's hard to tell when I'm doing like some weird ass design test like this, but it's very noticeable in my opinion. Yeah, see, yeah, you get the point. Anyways, yeah, the plastic dots are going to be pretty controlled. So honestly, if you're looking for a controlled skate on fabric pads, it's not bad. I mean, it's in fact, I guess if you want the most controlled, I'd probably say these would probably be your best bet on fabric pads. If you want even more control. So like the Obsidian Pro Airs are solid, but I'll be honest, I don't think they're even this low as the plastic dots. Like I have a set of Pro Airs right here. I forgot how slow they are. Yeah, they're slow, but no, not nearly. And oh, there's a big difference. There's a big difference. Yeah, no, it's still kind of slow, but nowhere near plastic dots. So I think these have officially taken over the throne of most controlled skate on fabric pads for me. I don't know if out of all those skates I've used, there has been nothing. I really don't think that's been slower than these. And this is, yeah. Anyways, that's the fabric pad performance. Obviously, this is not meant for fabric pads, as you can know. But that's opinion whether you want to use fabric pad or not. So yeah. Let's see. The next thing they say is there's a 3 to 4 hour hard gaming break-in period with these skates. The skates will become much smoother and quieter once they get used to the surface they're gliding on. And then they have an install guide that should break up their braking process. I believe it's something like figure eights like this, I imagine. I don't remember, but I believe it's something like that. And they do have a break-in period. Although I was able to do it just kind of like doing this, like, I don't know, just, you know. So yeah, I don't know. It's up to you whether you want to do it, and I guess their guide works, but I just did like whatever I wanted to, you know. So yeah, it does become quieter and smoother, but as you can still see, I wouldn't say that's quiet. You know what I mean? And I think they know that. They know these skates are really loud, and that's one of I think the downsides of that is they're really loud. But one thing I like about these skates a lot is it made me realize that it's not necessarily that I don't like the audio feedback. I mean, I don't get me wrong, but what I valued more was actually the smoothness. So for example, when I put headphones on and I use this, it's actually a lot smoother than it sounds. So I actually found myself not even like caring or noticing, honestly. It's like really smooth. And it's even more prominent on stuff like the Serapad Kin. On the Skypad, it's still loud kind of, but on the Serapad Kin's even it's actually smooth. Like right here, it's right, like on its own, it's like not. I wouldn't say it's super smooth, but also it's a lot smoother than you would think it is. So yeah, that's what I think about what's it called, the break-in thing. It does exist, but after that, I don't think I've really noticed a change. The only thing that changes is if you have any like dust on here or something that like sticks to the thing. So that's kind of annoying, but. Besides that, has seemed relatively consistent for me. Yeah, the next talking point was something like they outlasted PTFE by over 250 times. Like I said, I do believe it because I've done a lot of testing on even the exact skates. You can see how they have the sort of wear on them. I have put these through hell. I have a video on it if you want to like even see a little bit of what I did. But I broke these in as hard as I could, and these do not have wear, barely wear. And it's the same thing with like some of these skates. It's just not there. It's just not there. It's kind of weird. It hasn't really changed except from the break-in period. So I believe them, but I'm not going to be like for sure that's right because I don't know. Lastly, they do say that it is CNC machined at their esports facility in the US. They are the gamers, testers, engineers, and producers of their plastic dot skates. I'm guessing that's just some information to know about them. Like, what can I say? I can't verify that. I can't say like, oh, that makes them better. You know, I'm just letting you guys know because I guess it might be good information to let you guys know. But yeah, let's see. I think I wanted to try these on different pads because they do offer varying performances, and they do vary from like what's it called, stock skates or PTFE skates would vary. So like example, I think the plastic dots are actually slower on the Skypad than on the Padsmith Empress. Well, it's kind of the other way around. And I think I have an idea for it, but like let me just show you. So for the sound test, This one has 4 dots. I used 8 dots. But earlier I just had 1 on each, and adding more dots just makes it slower. Obviously, it is noticeably slower. It's not like a whole world of slower, but it is slower. I mean, you can probably tell within like this. Whoops. Maybe not. You can't tell, but I have to use. I don't know. It is a little bit more forced. But let me try on the other pads. So my next pad I have is the what's it called? Empress I was talking about. As you can see, it's still kind of loud, still kind of scrapey, but a lot faster, and the static friction is even less. Like you can see how I'm like kind of like tapping it, and it's like you can't see that well, but it's moving ever so slightly. So it's like really not that the static is, it's kind of the same thing with fat PTFE. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying it's also still pretty decent with that. But it is slower, as you can see. Like look at this, look at that, look how slow that is. What the hell? That was weird. Yeah, it's more controlled. So I don't think I have much to say about that. They just have slightly different performances with different pads. I think you just kind of have to get a feel for that, I suppose. You know what, screw it. Let's just try the Adam glass pad while we're here. Oh, okay, I remember this. It's terrible. It's not smooth at all, nor doesn't sound smooth, and it is not smooth. But on the plus side, the static friction's even weaker, or even like less on here. So it's like crazy. Like as you can see, I can like barely like do this and it moves. So that's cool, I suppose. And I think the pad it's made for, and probably maybe one of the best pads it's for, is the Serapad Kin, which is obviously made by them. So let's see. Grab that. Here is the Serapad Kin. And this is probably the best case scenario is what you're going to use this in my opinion, is this pad. It's usually a little bit more quieter, and what's it called? And it's definitely more smoother. It's still not that smooth. I think I need to break these in again, because I added just 4 more dots. Like I said, I only using 4. Adding more dots needs to re-break it. You know what I mean? But if I break them in, like I could probably do it right now. Like watch, I'll just do this. All right, now let me just wipe it off. Let's just make sure there's nothing on here. Look at the difference. That difference is insane. And it's also a lot smoother. Like this is, if I couldn't hear anything, I think like, damn, that's buttery smooth. So that's kind of what I mean by you can break it in pretty easily. Yeah, so I think this is probably the best case scenario. It is actually kind of fast, even on the Serapad Kin, for what like see, like it's another example. Like PTFE is going to be a little bit slower, I guess, or maybe even not, maybe not. But it's like actually like relatively similar in speed to PTFE on the Serapad Kin. It just has different properties from what you'd expect from a different mouse, like mouse pads, not mouse gates. All right. Well, yeah. That's the PlastiX dots on the Serapad Kin. I think it's like the most pleasant using on their pad. Obviously, it's more smoother, it's quieter. Obviously, it's their products, I suppose, yeah. But some things I like about it are, I'll tell you what I like most about it, and then things I don't like about it. So what I like about it is the static friction is pretty weak, I'd say. Like to start off moving, it's not the weakest, but it's pretty weak. And especially on some other hard pads, like that you saw the Atom glass pad, where it's like nothing. It's kind of nice. But this does have high dynamic friction. So I guess this is good for like if you like low static and high dynamic, which is actually like, in my opinion, pretty like ideal, I guess, because it's. I don't want to go through that. I don't want to go through this whole discussion, but I feel like that's something that's good. I mean, if you prefer it, obviously. So yeah, I like that. I like the durability. The durability is basically I'll never need to replace these. Like I really won't. I just added more skates because I wanted more control, but I won't need to replace these. I don't think I'll ever need to buy like another one I don't think I need to. What else do I like about them? That might be it, to be honest. I guess on their pad it's smoother, so that's really nice. Like it is much like. That is so much more smoother. Obviously, if you do it really fast, But I think those are going to be the highest pros, something like that. But I think that's where their niche falls in. That's why I say it's not like the best skate. I think this is where their niche falls in. Is that it's extremely durable. So if you want a skate that never wears, you wear it once, this is pretty good. And Yeah, and then I guess the surface properties are just kind of preference in terms of like low static, high dynamic more, I suppose. But some of the negatives. Let's talk about some of the negatives. So one thing I really don't like about it is obviously the feedback. Like I said, I noticed how I care about more about actually texture than I care about audio feedback. So that made me realize that, and actually it has not bothered me that much, but it's still something I don't like. You know, I don't like particularly hearing that. That might be the biggest negative. I think that's the biggest negative, is they're kind of scratchy. Except on this AirPod it's a little bit better, but even then it's still, you know, not great, but it's better. I think those are the biggest negative, I'm not gonna lie. And I suppose they are on the controlled end, no matter where you, actually not no matter where you go, that's completely wrong actually. On some pads like the speed pads, it's actually a lot different. Like I said, they have different variability. So, yeah. Oh, you know what? I have a whole list right here I wrote a while ago and I just never mentioned it. Whatever. Let's go through it again quickly. Positives. Durability, actually smoother than you think, which is more consistent also because there's no PTFE grind. Negatives. Audio feedback, it's scratchy at first. It gets better, but it's still relatively loud. Pricey, though. It's $1 per skate. I think it's like 12 skates for $12. Though arguably you can justify this because of their durability and innovation, and you know that the material they made. And then lastly, I have in question marks possible inconsistent skates. Oh, I know why I said that. I say that because, so I don't actually have the other pair. I do, but I don't. Let me get them. I do want to demonstrate this actually. So TJExclusives sent me 2 pairs. They sent me 1 pair at first, and then I asked them about it because I think there was inconsistencies. It was an error supposedly, and I don't mind. I wasn't upset, especially because if they just send me another one, like the problem's solved. You know what I mean? That's something I like personally about like. I think that helps. That actually makes a more positive impact on me, is if they can fix a mistake rather than not make a mistake. You know, I think for me that's something I like for more. But here are the original I got, and as you can see, or at least I hope you can see, the surfacing is a little different. So if you look on this one, it's completely flat. Let's see if I can get a better angle. Let me see if I can change the zoom on this really quickly. Let me just try not to tap. Yeah. So you can see how this is like completely flat. Look at that, flat. But they weren't all like that. The first set I got actually looks like this. You can see how like they have this like cone shape, how the centers, and you can even see how within the cone shapes they are different sizes. They're not all the same cycle like sizes. You can see right here. This one's flat right there, but everything, you know, like they're all a little bit different. So that's a little concerning, but like, so that's one thing I didn't like, because I actually do like the smoother ones, the flatter ones. I do like them more, but. One thing why I mentioned this is because I feel like I've seen other reviewers who have done reviews of it, and their skates have looked like this more than these. And this is a new batch they sent me, and I like it more. Don't get me wrong. I just, and I'm pretty sure it was not supposed to be like this because it's, as you can see, it's inconsistent. So they sent me, you know, another pair. But like I said, I do think at the very least you can just get another pair that'll be fixed, and like now you have extra skates. You know, I don't know. Not the biggest deal in the world, but I do want to mention that it is slightly inconsistent. So, or it can be inconsistent. I don't know if it is. I could just been unlucky. I don't know. They might have, you know, there's a lot of things that could have happened there. But I do want to mention that. So it's possibly inconsistent compared to like what I guess most PTFE skates are very like always the same, nearly almost the same. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. All right, those are the negatives, and I have some things that are subjective. Things to note. Subjective. Number 1 is speed. It's a relatively similar static friction to PTFE, but there is a lot of pad variance. So like I said, the pad changes with the skates a lot. And I say that like as if that's different, because on PTFE, at least it's more consistent, you know? PTFE is like, oh, you know how a pad feels with different pads, but basically this makes it even different. This swaps it around even more. So it's like a whole different tool set. I don't know how to explain. It's very different though. It's a different whole pad variance. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, they have relatively similar static friction, I believe, maybe on a glass pad, which is good because on a glass pad, a lot of people like PTFE, but the problem with it is that it goes way too, it wears too fast. So I think that's a good thing if you like the low static friction. They're a little bit slower though, sometimes the same depending on the pad you use, like the dynamic friction, I mean, like I mentioned. So the fact that they get close is, like I said, it's a trade-off. You're getting high durability, but you're getting more noise and a little bit of surfacing change. But if you like kind of like the what glass is for, but don't want to use skates that wear all the time, might be for you. Let's see. Last thing I said, put dot skates are small because they're kind of small. They're a lot smaller than traditional dot skates. Let me show you a different dot skate. Sure, I think these are like Magic Ices or something like that. You can see that they're just different sizes. These have been the small skates I've used, pretty much. And so for me, I wrote that down, but that's either good or bad. That's kind of your opinion whether it's good or bad. Some might be like it because it lets you place more in different spots. You know, some people might like it less. It's just a preference thing, and I can't really say good or bad. Preference thing. For me, I don't care that much. I guess I like it a little bit more than I don't, but like not really care. You know, I don't really care that much. All right. Let's see. I already talked about the talking points. Okay. Now my last questions are, do I recommend it and who's it for? Let's see. I'm not going to give it a broad recommendation across the board because it's a niche product, first and foremost. In the same way that I wouldn't recommend glass pads to most normies, you know, the most people who like are not nerds. But I do think it does have its niche audience. So I would recommend this for people with that niche audience in terms of they hate PTFE grind and they want skates that'll last them forever and consistent, and preferably on arch pads. If you did that battery just die? I think hold on. I think my lighting battery just died. It's kind of funny. Sorry about that. Let me fix that. But what was I saying? I was saying something like hello? Okay. Thanks. Middle video. What's it called? So yeah, niche product. I think I was saying, yeah, durability wise. So if you don't like the PTFE grind, that's great. Because this is going to be a lot more consistent, I suppose. But also you will get that audio feedback, and it is less smooth on like PTFE on glass. Even then, like I said, it's different on some skates. Like the Serpad kind of gets smoother, but like in general, PTFE is going to be smoother because I mean, you know, it's. But on the plus side, the plastic dots are actually quite similar in terms of static friction speed, which is what a lot of people like about glass, is that there's like no static friction or very little static friction. And the same thing kind of follows on here. Sometimes even more. Like this has the least static friction out of all these. This is full skates, that makes sense. But even these have more static friction. Like I can feel like a lot more force needed to be pushed. Could be the weight of the mouse though. I don't know. Anyways, I think that's it. That's gonna be it. Like for what's it called? What I recommend it for. If you're a nerd, maybe worth getting. For the casual person, no. Oh, okay. We're continuing the video like this. I don't know what that's about, but sure. So, yeah, I personally like this product. That's the last talking point I have on mine. Is do I personally like the product? Yes, but I wish it was. It's good. I like it. It's not perfect, unfortunately, which is, so it's good enough to be like, I really like these. Basically, I think they have potential. They're almost there. But it's kind of limitations of what you know, like you can't really have your cake and eat it too, essentially. So I do recommend these for the people that, you know, the niche it fills. But do I personally like this? I do, but I wish I could like it more. Because it's not bad and it has a lot of good things about it. But I don't know. I do generally like this product. But could be better. But I guess you could say that about anything. Even my favorite mouse, the PlastiX Mini. Alright, that's going to wrap up my review. A long 24-minute rant of me talking about dot skates. So, hope you liked it. If you want to see more reviews or anything like that, feel free to like and sub, or any other videos like that. Thank you again, TJExclusives, for sending these out to me. I really do appreciate it, especially because I believe they sent out these to me when I was like less than 100 subscribers. So like that, they're really cool for that. I'm not gonna lie, they're really cool for that. But yeah. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. But other than that, I think that's my video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.